Japan is one of the few countries in the world that is a major producer of precious coral, and it is a world-class product. In Kochi Prefecture, the birthplace of precious coral in Japan and a major producer for many years, traditional precious coral fishing is still practiced, and the advanced knowledge and techniques for harvesting and processing coral are still alive and well. We would like to introduce some of Japan's sustainability efforts in the field of precious coral in order to preserve the tradition for future generations. First, we'd like to introduce the precious coral propagation activities conducted as a cooperative effort between the Kuroshio Biological Research Foundation and local coral fishermen. Our mission is to preserve and protect the culture surrounding precious coral and to develop it sustainably as a local industry. We are engaged in a variety of activities to protect and preserve the resource and to utilize it sustainably. There is a need to establish a more proactive resource management methods and conduct research on the growth process. Therefore, we have decided to conduct the Precious Coral Forest and Cultivation Project. First, the coral fishermen provide us with the branch tips of mature precious corals. These tips are maintained under the lighting and temperature conditions similar to those of the seafloor environment. The use of mature precious coral tips offers the following advantages. It takes time for precious corals to grow to the size to release sperm and eggs if they are propagated from eggs to begin with. However, by transplanting and releasing the mature precious corals using the tips of their branches, it's possible to propagate them quickly. Next, before being released into the ocean, the branch tips of the precious corals are transplanted onto two different types of substrates, the first being cages full of seashells known as kaisokun, and the next being concrete discs. Between 2016 and 2024, the total number of released precious coral tips totaled approximately 1,500. After 935 days, the precious corals released by the kaisokun cages were collected and a growth survey was conducted. 99.1% of the corals survived, of which 96.5% were found to be growing. A growth survey was also conducted on the precious corals released on disc substrates, and we confirmed their survival and observed an increase in polyps. These are very good results. We are currently engaged in regular propagation activities. Instead of harvesting these precious corals, the mature corals spawn and expand their habitat to other locations over time. So, how are the precious corals that have been released from the sea faring? Let's take a look at the sea floor. The sea bottom is dim and quiet. Little by little we can see them. The corals are neatly sunk on the rocks. Several discs are sunk in the same area. Secondly, we would like to report the results of a study we commissioned from the Kuroshio Biological Research Foundation regarding precious coral sexual reproduction. In this research, we succeeded in capturing video footage of precious coral releasing sperm for the first time in the world. Using the branch tips of red coral provided by local fishermen, the researchers took video of the coral and succeeded in capturing these valuable images. This is the world's first video footage of a successful release of sperm from a red coral polyp. You can see a light yellow sphere being released from the tip. This is the sperm sac. Several spermatozoa are released from the polyp, and the relay of life has begun. In order to accelerate the propagation and increase the reproductive opportunities of Japanese precious corals, propagation is being conducted in two ways: sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. We believe these efforts will conserve and nurture the precious corals. Finally, we would like to report the results of a study we commissioned from the Marine Coral Research Institution at Kochi University regarding the dating of precious corals. The study used radiocarbon dating and attempted to date pieces of dead precious coral. Of those measured, the oldest sample was estimated to be from around 5600 BC. 85% of the samples studied were found to predate the beginning of the precious coral fishery in Japan in 1871, as well as its peak in the 1900s. The results of this study indicate that most of the dead corals measured died due to longevity, predation, and various environmental degradations. A better understanding of the history of accumulation of these precious corals can lead to better resource management. Thank you for your kind attention.